Greetings, community. It's Kevin, 1-2 Comic Talk. Just hanging out, talking comics. Doing the whole bags, boards, times two. A lot of books. See who's hanging out in the chat. Just want to know, for all of you out there that have been working during this time, grateful, especially on this Labor Day. Probably out there still doing it. Doesn't mean I ain't grateful. Thank you to all of you, and happy Labor Day. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm just going to hang out and throw a few boards and a few bags. And I know that I am expecting huge orders coming in. I mean, I am glad the wife doesn't watch this. I know one order is going to be somewhat large, but the last order I just placed was over 100 books. I mean, it's like it's getting it. Yeesh. We all know, what I mean. It's the classic. I got a lot of books coming. It's a classic. I got too many books. I always say, you don't really. I personally don't feel that you ever have too many books. We just run out of room. So it's not that we need less books, just that we need larger places. Hey, Rod, I threw an invite out there to you, sir. You'd have to actually manually put it in if you want. I can toss if you want on the email. It's gonna be a couple minutes. I am just gonna hang out, man. If you just want to hang out, I'm just gonna start stuffing some boards and some bags, and basically, I'm willing to talk about any and all comics, anything related to comics, movies, all that. I want to talk books. I want to talk stories. I want you to know that we've been working on building a large, how should I say, schedule of artists and creators to start doing some artist alleys, and hopefully with the assistance of JB, we're going to be reaching a lot more people. JB essentially is almost networking the system out. And more of that will be, I should say, basically released and announced as time goes on. Our first interview will be this Thursday, even though it's not up that I know of at this point, with David Pepos. We're going to be talking. He has a new Kickstarter out. We're going to be talking Oz. It's basically a story, it's a hardcore version of what you would think of Wizard of Oz to be. So it's almost a post-apocalyptical form. It is what I'm getting. It looks freaking awesome, and I'm a huge David Pepos fan. Always have been. Doing Spencer Locke last year. If you watch some of the reviews that I did, which I really don't do anymore. Tell me if you guys would want me to start doing reviews again. I will. That was one of my top picks of last year as far as book of the year was David Pepos' story, which was Going to the Chapel. I like David's style. I like his brisk pace. I like always the collage of what if this and what if that, and it was this and set in this type of scenario, and it all mixed up into in a bowl, and we mixed it up at the right temperature, and this is what it is. And he tends to be that type of person where he takes multiple forms of ingredients and throws it in a pot, and every time I'm always happy with the story meal that he serves. So if you are into that type of thing, I highly recommend that you not only check out David Pepos' stuff, but be here Thursday. Well, I'm going to end up pretty much nailing down everything tomorrow about time and all that scheduling, but we do have them written down. He will be here for the 10th. And as far as other artist alleys are concerned, I decided to take it upon myself yesterday to go ahead and you see the simplification of what I do. And Kai and I kind of like the organic feel of what we have here, and we don't do a whole lot as far as presentation that you see. What I do spend time in sense of like yesterday alone was I probably spent over 12 hours just contacting various people and saying, hey, I'm reading your stuff. And in the case that you'll end up seeing some of the orders that we end up receiving, you'll agree. So I end up speaking with, as I already made mention, David Pepos, but I am still in talks with hopefully Kenny Aiken be coming back soon. I just if I recall, it's October 3rd. Yeah. So I spoke with Jeff Stokely, and he's the artist for Ludocrats, and we have him. Amber Kubert, she's the third generation artist creator, right, doing the writing for the story Inkblot. She'll be here with us on the 26th. We have David Schrader. I'm in talks with Frank Gogol. He wanted to do something. Hey Sam, how you doing, Comic Crazy? He wanted to actually do a face appearance. He says he only wants to do voice podcasts up until about middle of next month, but he's dying to make an announcement. And it sounded like to me he wanted to make it on this show. So we'll look forward to that. That's Frank Gogol. He said make contact in the middle of next month. So I'm thinking maybe the 17th we'll have him. And again, I've reached out to Tim Seeley. He's also a teacher, so he's been really busy. He wants to get on the show. And I got a couple other surprise ones to come. That was mostly what I ended up doing with most of my day yesterday. So I not only end up reading all this content, but when I really fall in love with stuff, and or when in the case of Kai, he and or me reaches out to individuals, and that's what we do. As we started the Make Mention, the idea was to stuff some back and boards. So as I flat my gums, let's go ahead and be productive at the same time, huh? And please drop in the chat what you've been reading. Drop in the chat what you would like to end up seeing, maybe even on the show. As far as content on the show, I have like 5 different ideas of content. It's just that I haven't pulled the trigger on it because I'm not certain of certain reception. And certain things are really not me. So I've in the case of I have in the past given out content in the sense of started shows on other shows, and it's just there, baby. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with some things, but aside from that, let's get back to also what I stated. I want to know what you guys are reading. I'm reading a lot. I like to discuss what I'm reading, but I am reading so much that I am a space of what, I mean, unless someone brings up content, I'm going to tell you, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm reading that. But what I'd like to make mention is I talked about Kenny Aiken earlier. One of my favorite adventure kind of books that I'm doing right now on the indie side is a book called Apex Cybernetic Samurai Owl. It's a mouthful. I need to flip these. And this is a fun tale. It's a story that is set in a Japanese setting. It almost gives a feel of almost a feudal Japan feel, but being that it's in a present time, if not future, it's obviously not. And it kind of flashes back and forth from a stereotypical master and student, but being that the student is this experimented on owl, I love it. It sounds a little hookier than it really is. Fucking art's killer. The writing's killer. I'm into feudal Japan stuff. Being that I am not as much anymore, but a practitioner of the art of war. And I like the reading of, the philosophies and ideas of time period of war. I like war stuff. I don't like violence, but I like the study and aspect of the psychological, how should I say, chess matches that are involved in war. And I know that's, if we can remove people, that would be the beauty, and just have these, I don't know, maybe stand-ins, these proxies. And what I mean by proxies, I'm definitely not talking still people. I'm talking maybe androids or something deviated. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've been reading in the sense of some of the individuals that will end up having on this show. I've already made mention of David Pepos. What I'd like to talk about is Emma Kubert. As I made mention, she's third generation. Hey, John. Minio, how you doing, man? Sam? And I really fell in love with the subject matter that she decided that she wanted to write about in this Inkblot story. Even before I knew anything about it, when I was reading about her a little bit, and I was kind of taken back, and I want to get into that. Why is because anybody that's a multi-generation of anything, that's a lot of weight to put on somebody, especially if you decide that you want to go ahead and hang that as a moniker to try to live up to. That's again, that's a lot to live up to. I personally would almost want to take the Hill standpoint of meaning Joe Hill, of making my own name on my own terms. That way, it doesn't I have to worry about my living up to my dad's reputation. So, being that an individual decided that they're going to go ahead and not, have an issue with someone making a point of the fact that she's third generation, to me that was ballsy, and I thought that was kind of cool. When I ended up finally getting to what the story was about, I ended up reading just, I guess, like, I always refer to them as elevator pitches, even though if you're reading it, it's considered. Still, I got this little blurb, and I fell in love with the idea that, one, we're talking about magic. Two, we're talking about, I would say it's a tween style introductory book. So I recommend it for anyone that's in that 11 to 13 and going age for this book. The fact that it plays with a chaotic form of the idea of magic, meaning you don't know what the hell happened, if how something arose or appeared in the situation, or in the case of cats, which we all know to be one of the terms that I always like to use, is like trying to corral cats. Well, imagine trying to corral chaotic magic at the same point of trying to capture a cat. That's kind of how I describe what's going on in the story. And I love these things. Again, I'm going to use another analogy. Transformers and My Little Ponies. I'm reading it. I'm buying it for my daughter, who is 19. But again, I like all ages stuff. One thing I really like about I know I'm deviating. Transformers and My Little Pony, which I'll get back to the ink blot, is these are stories that, regardless of what you read before or kind of almost where you're at in the mind, you have difficulty leaving the story, if you gave it a chance at all, without having a smile on your face. When you're affected by a story, if the overall goal is accomplished, that's art, right? Even if it was just to piss you off. And it's subjective, don't get me wrong, but I think that in most terms, when people say, what was the art thing, I think in more terms than not, and I'm going to go ahead and loosely throw myself in there because I do the whole loosely music thing and play with other writings, is that I'm trying to convey something, and I'm hoping that someone gets a little bit of what I'm trying to convey. And if it's a matter of obtaining a reaction, a feeling, an epiphany, whatever it is, if the goal is obtained, then, I in part, that was my overall goal as the artist. So that means the art aspect of it not only came across that you can stop it to appreciate it, but you looked into it deep enough to have a greater understanding of what it is. And to me, that, I think, as these geeky, nerdy things that we are, in a sense, especially when we get to the level that we decide that we want to go ahead and expose ourselves onto a social platform, that I think in part that's what we're also trying to share with everyone else, is that we've taken it to that level of understanding and appreciation, and we all express it differently. Different people have different shows, and I'm grateful to all of them. That doesn't mean I'm watching them all. It just means that I know that there's that spectrum to allow all those that are far beyond my own to be able to experience the things that I also enjoy, but in their own place, if that makes sense. I know I'm babbling. I'm waiting for you guys out there to help me. But again, that's Inkblot for me. It's a fun ride. It's one issue at this point. I'm already pre-bought, and I'm gonna jump on. I like these type of stories, and I also like the ability to go, from reading these heavily content stories that we all do. I mean, we all jump in and out of different, how should I say, flavors of what we like, and we all tend to like a form of horror or a form of, light literature, whatever it is. What I like to be able to do is I like to be able to have reset buttons. Things are my rescues. So, hey, Whack, how you doing? I'm Renio. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to go through the chat real quick. And then the reason why I like doing that is sometimes if I'm reading nothing but a bunch of horror and I'm feeling like, if I don't have a book or ability to hit that reset button, I've now skewed and already have a particular point of view on what I'm about to read because of where I left from the last one. It's almost like an aftertaste, and you've taken, a bite of something, you can't fully appreciate it because you have to cleanse your palate. Did I just go to a wine place? Okay, we're talking wine, we're talking it all. I'm gonna go through and shout out the chat. I appreciate you, Minio, being here. Sam, thank you. And hey, John, I just want you to know I threw that out there at you. Same with you, Rod. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And Transformers. Wait, let me see what you got. Transformers and My Little Pony sounds hilarious. It's not only hilarious. You're getting two stories within the one book, and they're so heartwarming stories. And I am a huge all ages fan. Kai doesn't read most of the all ages stuff. I do. And I'm a fan of this stuff. Like I said, I like being able to hit the reset button. Hey, Mike, appreciate you being here. And just me out, Mike. You and I, as far as on non all ages stuff, you and I are reading a lot of the same books, man. Which means you're buying a lot of books because, damn, I'm buying a lot of books. And hey, Whack, I hope you're doing well. Everyone on this Labor Day, if you've worked up to this point, if you're working today, if you have to go back to work tomorrow, I'm grateful to you. Seriously. I mean, I would like to go back to work, but due to situations that is best, I believe, for all to maintain a health, which I'm not getting anywhere. I understand that we're all in this together and we're all playing our own part, however we have to. Hey, Pops, dude, man, how you been? I've been watching your con stuff, dude. You are putting out work as always. If you guys are not either subbed or check Pops Van Zant out, I only recommend it just for like many of you out there that throw content out. The work that this gentleman does, especially for the indie community, is extreme. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that are machines, and Pops, you're one of them, dude. Doing the interview with you was making me tired, man. And again, community, you'll end up seeing that this guy carries a lot of charisma. He has a lot of upbeat. Just in the few minutes that he was on with us, wow. I mean, he made a lot of the show, so check out Pops, man. He's great. And everyone out here, everyone hanging out with me, I appreciate you guys, man. So again, I want to talk books, want to stuff boards, want to stuff bags, and I want to talk, I guess, I just want to touch on the aspect of where indies are at, how Kickstarters were once viewed and how they're presently viewed now, and how the momentum is now being snowballed. And I'm so grateful for that, because people that really have been trying to gain the popularity and trust of you, it seems that the community now does. And there's so many people that are backing so many Kickstarters out there. Damn, it's hot. It's awesome. It's a great time to be in this hobby. And speaking of great people, great time, and great hobby, let's bring in a great person. Huh?
That was a crazy segue. Come on. I'm not.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. And a lot of things you've been touching on of late, I think are really relevant as far as what the community have been not only discussing, but appreciating and had forgotten. You know what I mean? It takes certain people, much like yourself, and Greg, because you've been doing a lot of things with Greg too.
I mean, I'm the kind of person that I make a friend, and then it's like, okay, I got to figure out a way to make sure we hang out. Yeah, it's like,
but you guys
I'm jumping in on your Friday. I jump in on your drinking shows when I can, and hangouts. And I made a show so I can hang out with Perry, and then he got so big, he's not hanging out with me anymore. But I try to. Greg was another example. I'm starting to hang out with Justin now. I don't know if you've seen the Tuesday show I'm doing now about giant. Well, we were X-Men. It's really just an X-Men show, looking at Claremont's run and going issue by issue through that. But it was just we had a common interest, and we both had purchased this omnibus, and it was like, hey, let's just talk about each issue and go through it, and have friends on that want to talk about a certain issue because they bought it and they never read it, and it's like, let's go. But it's that.
Since you're here, I'm going to pick your brain on something. You've been doing this for a little while. Can you? It's been about 2 years or so, right, for you?
My first official comic video was in July 2 years ago, but I didn't start doing like regular stuff until September, October.
But your observation was there. You were watching channels.
Oh yeah, I started watching almost about the same time that Bueller, Tom, and Reggie, who are like my holy trinity of comic books. You know, they're like the three guys that I respect the most and ask the most questions of and lean on the most. Those guys all started within like a week of each other.
Oh, wow.
Like in February, like 2.5 years ago, they all started doing YouTube, and they all had a mentality of like, I want to make stuff that's fun and informative, and I want to make a brand. And so I watched, I just watched all their stuff. I became friends with Fire Guy Ryan and Bueller and like would message them a ton. And then it was like the summer came and I was a teacher on vacation. So it was like, hey, let's make a few videos and see what this is like. And
I want to touch on the beginnings of kind of the mentality and what was looked on at the time. And what I mean by that is, in the beginning, it seems like, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. In the beginning, you guys were kind of reporting on what was going on and kind of what you do now, but it wasn't as expansive as it is. You were talking about books like you were then, but maybe not as many as the indies or Kickstarters or Indiegogo's or now. I mean, it seems like now, and this is what I'm getting at, is the spectrum of interest now beyond just comics.
Yeah.
There's pops and figurines and these displays that are of mammoth proportions, and
right.
That when I first jumped in here, which is not that long ago in my eyes, only a little over a year, I wasn't even noticing it to the extent that I do now. So that's kind of what I want to touch with you is how has that been in an evolution since you've started to now? That must be tricky.
Yeah, it's hard to know if it's like a change that's happening in the community or if it's just a change I'm going through and therefore I'm finding like-minded people that are going through the same thing. So like 2 years ago in October is when I started doing my morning show with my girls and the book club Wednesday show with Alec. And he has a very indie mentality and he likes, he was a comic creator who had a startup book that he was self-publishing. I mean, he went through that whole Comic-Con sitting in a corner hoping somebody will check out your book thing. And so he definitely planted the seed of that in our show on Wednesdays and in my brain. I had been a Vertigo fanboy, but like that was it. I had never really bought a lot of Image, maybe Walking Dead or something, but not a whole lot. And then I think over time, it was just a thing where hanging out with him and Herminio's right, like hanging out with Fire Guy Ryan, and those bromances were real. And those guys like good stories, and they're not like hung up on, I need a cape, or I need a superpower, or it needs to be one of the big two companies or whatever. They're very much just giving a good story. And so that's that for me. I evolved into reading more, and then I think the quality level jumped. I mean, you look at what Boom Studios was 3 years ago and what they are now.
Yes,
I mean, that they exploded in quality, in my opinion. I mean, as much as Fire Guy is apparently like hot take, Fire Guy is not enjoying Once and Future as much as the rest of the community seems to be enjoying it. But like Something's Killing the Children. Strange Skies Over East Berlin I love. I think the best book that no one's talking about is Alienated. I think they've got a lot of great quality, and Image is maintained and continued. Middle West was a great book for them. Die is a great book for them.
Yeah.
I have yet to branch beyond that. I mean, I have an occasional IDW book, but everybody's telling me Source Point Press and Scout Comics, and there's a lot of publishers that I have never explored.
Well, I'm finally seeing it now. Now this is me. So I've been in and out so many times. I almost feel like a dolphin. So when I was in the 88 through 95 time period, that was my time period there. That what brought me back in part was some of that indie stuff. I already knew on the lips of Malibu what was going and being in the talks of people like Rob Liefeld, Danny Mickey, and all this other stuff was going on. And they've already talked about how they were going to be able to do it if they decided to pull the trigger amongst only 3 people at the time, that they were going to go ahead and publish through Malibu, and that all they had to do was follow that what was being done over on the Dark Horse side because of what was being lost over there. And they were using that in part as a model. So
I think I also feel like there's not enough credit for what Vertigo was doing. I mean, I know they had Constantine and Swamp Thing and these typically DC Dark Universe characters, but they were also doing the Y the Last Man or the 100 Bullets. I felt like they were what Image ultimately grew to become, which was this playground for talented writers and artists.
What you're talking about is they didn't have the distribution and the ability to get out to the public. So what they end up doing is they end up using the model that was being utilized by Archie Comics and by Mirage. Now, because what they were doing is they couldn't get into the stores, but what they did is they decided to go and start talking to people like Toys R Us. So they were actually able to get into farther, more national markets, even though they were in malls.
That's interesting. I knew that DC owned Vertigo, and they had that power, like that they could use to their advantage. Unlike
a Boom, it was under the umbrella, but they were their own entity, much like the way Skybound is their own thing with Image, and everyone else did the same thing. That was part of the premise.
Hey, Mad Mike, if you've got some good Scout books to recommend to me, please drop the names in the chat, because I'm looking for some Scout books and some Source Point and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, White Ash, definitely check out White Ash.
I've heard good things.
Dickney's book, and he's now moved up in the high ranks of Scout now. So
nice,
yeah. So what I'm getting at with that is I end up noticing now, and I'm bringing it back. I know I deviated, but I'm bringing it back to what I was talking about. Is I'm noticing now how these publishing companies are kind of their own niche, and they've personalized themselves in a certain way. And I just got to watching an interview with James Tynion, and he was talking about how one of his ultimate goals was to actually get one of his stories over an Image, because even though you have a Boom, even though he was naming these different places, that's great. And there's nothing against him, as he was saying, but what you really are trying to get to, because the top of the notch of your own
creator owned,
right, is Image. That's the top tier level. So that's even though when you play with IDW, a lot of times you're playing with licensing that's been bought, let's say, by Marvel, and you're allowed to freely do it under certain pretenses.
Gotcha.
So there's, and I'm starting to still learn all this between how Walt's doing this and all this, and it's starting to come together. I think I need about another year, and I'll have it down.
I think like you're saying, I think the big benefit is owning the property, the intellectual property, right? So Kirkman feeling like Walking Dead was his, and Saga belonging to Fiona Staples. I mean, though they can decide what happens to it, and that's why things like Saga not being a TV show is the reality, because they don't want it to be. And they've said repeatedly, I think, that they don't want it to go beyond a comic book at this point, that they want to tell their story, and then they're going to just make some decisions later on. So that is kind of cool. And I think and then you have people like Stephanie Hans making Die, who decides, I want to make a board game and a role play game. I don't want to make a movie out of this. I want to make a game. And then she licenses this incredible game, and there's now like hoodies. I mean, I saw Tacoma Comics had the hoodie and the T-shirt, and there's she's licensing in a different direction than the typical formula. Mad Mike says Alterna Comics are good. Justin says plenty of Source Point.
Yeah, me too, Justin.
Yeah,
I can recommend so much.
If there's any good titles, like give me the title of books that I should be trying out, because I want to like go to, if my shop has any of those back issues, I'll go and take a look.
And again,
I would
this
say
week, what you're looking for,
I'm trying to control my pull list, and I've already reached my peak. I think for this week, I don't think I can go beyond what I'm pulling for this week, because my LCS got some trades for 50% off. And I snagged the first 2 volumes of Star Wars, the Darth Vader Chuck Soul run, or Charles Soule run, that I hear is amazing.
Don't know it. Okay.
So everybody tells me, like, if you're going to read Star Wars, read the Darth Vader Soule run. Soule. Is that his name? Charles Soule?
Yes.
And they said that's the one to read. So they had volume 1 and 2, and I was like, I'll take them. Put them in my bin. So that's the $20 right there, or whatever.
Yeah, my daughter, that's almost exclusively, that's what she wants to read, is just trades. She likes, one, the idea, the fact that she doesn't have to preserve the book, or she could just, hey, catch. And then 2, the fact that she can get them, like what you said, as opposed to paying 2, 3, 4 times the amount like we do for a book that's 2, 3, 4 years old. It's like, what do you mean they're 50% off, or they're only 10 cents on the dollar?
And a lot, my LCS is like a lot, I think, that where they when they buy a collection from somebody, they get trades, and so they stock a used trades bookshelf that's it's all across the floor. They've got long boxes of them, and they're always 50% off. And then I went in the other day, and they had them for $5 trades. And I ended up getting a whole chunk of Why the Last Man from Vertigo, and I sent them all to friends. I'm like, here, you need to read this. Here, enjoy these. So I was like, if I can snag those trades, I tell him every time he gets like Daredevil Born Again or Batman Year One, like my favorite Frank Miller stuff, I'm like, just put it in my box. I'm going to buy it and send it to somebody. So,
what I do want to talk about is I want to both thank you and curse you at the same time.
Sure.
Because die. Okay, I want to tell you, when I end up finding 1 through 9 for $1 each book.
Now, now I was confused. Are you talking about die, or just die?
No, die is the one I got the whole set of 1 through 9, and then die was the one that I only got 2 issues to see if I liked it. All right. Now, die. I purposely try to go into it hating it. I purposely try to tell myself I want to sell it. I do not want another ongoing thing. I do not want to enjoy this.
That's the one with the guy with the nose. His nose got cut off. He's all like, really fighting. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, then that's what I got. As soon as I saw the nose get cut off, I'm like, damn it. I'm in it. I'm so in this book now. This is so me. I was like, it was very enjoyable. Well written. You can really see the person that does this knows how to storyboard, because that's how everything reads. It's so enjoyable.
I'll have to check it out. So I'm just on regular die, just one die.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one that I've been getting like both covers of since the beginning. I got I think 2 copies slabbed and as 9/8 because I was like, this book. I pressed and cleaned and sent them because I had at that point I owned 4 copies of Cover A issue 1, and I just love that story, so I've collected it like crazy. And then I sold 1. I'll probably give 1 away because I ended up getting a variant that I was like, oh, I like this one better. And it's like I just die. I'm addicted to that. I love the fantasy. I love the art. I love the steampunk elements, and then it's all like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. So I'm into all of it.
You know what? Speaking of steampunk, then you have to be doing Broken Gargoyles by, actually Birch. He does a letter in it. But yeah, Bob Sally, he does Broken Gargoyles. It's a 3-issue miniseries. I love it because of how it touches and talks about veterans, how they're treated. And it's set in a 1925-ish, 6-ish time period.
After World War I, basically.
Right. But it's still relevant, and you can see how it really points, everything's still pointing with relevance to now. You know what I mean? And
sure. Oh, of course.
to me, it's so beautifully well written. The action in it is awesome, and again, fuck, if you like the writing, the letters of Birch, man, how could you go wrong?
Beta Ray Cosby
Yeah,
says Batman Year One is one of his favorites. Yeah, I mean, I for me, like Frank Miller has his fingerprints on all the like early stuff that I love. His Daredevil run, specifically Born Again, which was drawn by the same guy that drew Year One. David Mazzucchelli wrote, or Mazzucchelli, I don't know how you say it, but he drew both, and Frank wrote both. And then, of course, Dark Knight Returns, and I mean, the list goes on. Sin City. I feel like there's a ton of fingerprints from Frank Miller. I know he's a bit of a crazy guy, but he does good nihilists. I mean, his stories about just the brutality of life. It's intense for sure.
You know what? And it seems like there's a resurgence of talking about him and Chris Miller and a few of the guys from that 88 to 92 time period. It seems like a new resurgence coming out. And it was funny because I remember everyone used to tell me all these books that you're buying in this time period will never be worth anything because of the amount of books that were being printed in that time period.
Right.
But like I challenge people, I go, look, if you were to say, there's a great example. If you only printed out 100 copies and sold those 100 copies, more than likely those 100 copies will still exist today. If you print out 1 million copies, one, you're going to have half of those are going to be in the dollar bins and looking like a 5.0 or lower. Right. And then two, even if you do have some people, having them, it's one guy holding on to them, and the majority of other people are just like, they're in good condition. You know what I mean? It's usually not.
Yeah. I mean, you hear stories about guys who have like a storage locker or whatever, where they've got like 2 long boxes just of Moon Knight #1. And they're just like, I've got this collection of Moon Knight #1 that I've been holding on to them, waiting. Rod's here. Rod's backstage.
Yeah, I was looking for him and I don't see him.
Oh, he sent that a minute ago. Is he not there?
No, and when he was here, he wasn't popping up. His feed, no network connection.
Oh,
odd.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying
too.
But like for me, it's so the best example of that spectrum is the sort of jumbled history of Savage Dragon, the character, because it started as something that Eric Larson was doing on his own. Like he was self-publishing and he was putting it into these small magazines. I think it was called Fangzine or something like that. I can't remember what it was called, the first publication. And there were only like 1,000, right? Printed. And I think so. He had 2 appearances at the character as just Paul Dragon, and they published it twice, and they were like leaves in the wind. They just sort of vanished into long boxes around the world. And then later, he published it a couple of stories where he was the Savage Dragon in those Megaton magazine, the Megaton comic magazine, and those they printed maybe a few thousand.
Which that was Malibu.
Course, yeah. And then came Image, right? And Image publishes Savage Dragon, and they drop, a few 100,000 copies of issue #1. And so you have the spectrum where like issue 1 of Savage Dragon, there's a ton of them, but they're just beat. They are beat up. You're not going to find a lot of 9/8s. Versus, I think the challenge with these original fanzines and things is you're not going to find a lot of copies, period. Much less are they in decent shape. Because people who had those for a long time didn't know what they had. And so they weren't taking care of it. Those things were just all beat up. They were just a wreck. So, there's a spectrum to it. It's all just about that individual copy. Because if you can find a 9/8 of the original appearance of Paul Dragon in that like indie published version, you hold on to that. That's a book. That is a book and a half.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's why I remember being at Golden Apple and a buddy of mine was there and he's like, "Oh, look." And I'm looking at the book and I said, he's not even doing the signing event until 2. How did you get that? Oh, wow, man. Hey, I'll give you $20 for it. And this was back then. And he's like, "No way, dude." I'm like, "All right." So you know what I ended up buying? You know what I ended up buying with that $20 was was the second print. I turned around. I bought a second print on the wall of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2. Of the original book. That's what I end up buying instead of that.
Smart. Hey, no, there's no losers in that discussion. So this was Ajax Comics, a magazine called Graphic Fantasy. And you can see they just called him the Dragon down here. And that was technically his first appearance. There was a character called Prism and a character called Iron Hawk. And that can go for as high, for like almost $2,500 if you can find a high grade copy of that. They did an issue 2 with Paul Dragon again. Graphic Fantasy issue 2. And this
damn it.
Are we freezing up there? And this one is the same deal. They only had a few hundred printed. And this one also is like, it's like $1,000 book. And so they're saying that the print run was estimated around 300 for those 2 books, each of those books. And then I own the Megaton, this series, which they had more copies of, but still super low print compared to like what happened.
I think I may have one of those. I have to go look.
I have
Rod,
3
how you
of
doing,
them.
sir? Do you really?
Yeah. So I went to my LCS and I mentioned that they, this is the first time these called the Savage Dragon, and it's kind of a cool little book. And then they were like in the back, like, yeah, I got 3 of those. And I was like, okay, I ended up buying 2 that day. And then one of them I'm going to give away to I Got Issues, a buddy of mine. And because I know he's a big fan too. And he's never seen one in the wild either. This is the only time I'd seen it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Oh, Rod must have dropped out. I think it's because he's using his cell phone. I think cell phones are really hard to make work on StreamYard, but that's just me.
Hey, Gore. Larson.
I have issues with StreamYard.
And I think Larson is one of those guys that I really truly believe he's underappreciated for what he's been doing all these years, writing, art, even before he actually got to do his own thing. But, he would be right up there with
McFarlane.
As far as issue number, as far as McFarlane is concerned, if it wasn't for which was not due to him at all. It was just a release on how they did it during that Image time. The biggest, and I still believe this to be true. Another book that no one really talks about it is Will Spertasio ended up coming out with a story called Wetworks. It was that was held up for like 3 years.
Yeah, so Image had a lot of issues.
Hyped, and so many people were burned out at by the time it was released that people go, I don't care how good it is.
Well, I think for me, what always impressed me more about Larson was the fact that he didn't let anybody else take over, right? I mean, at some point, McFarlane was like, I'm not going to do Spawn anymore, right? And from what I hear, and again, I'm not a huge Spawn fan. All the Spawn books I read were the first like 20, the ones that were way overprinted.
Yeah, me too.
And what I hear though is Spawn fans all say that it got better when he left, and these other writers kind of took the nugget of what he created, kind of like with Deadpool, right? They took the nugget and they turned it into something really useful. Versus, I think the issue with Liefeld, or the impressive part about Liefeld, is he just did it all himself. 200, what are they on? 260 issues, all done and written and drawn by the same guy. 260.
Larson, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as amazing as Spawn hitting 300 was, when Savage Dragon hits 300, that's going to be amazing.
It'll be monumental because, again, the only person that you can really compare that to would be Dave Sim. He truly was there the whole time that I know of. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anybody even close.
Well, that was the idea where the number came from, was that McFarlane wanted to beat out Sim's run of Cerebus. Gotcha. And that was one of the big things that McFarlane wanted to integrate into one of his books, which was issue 10. He had Cerebus on the cover, which was the big crossover.
Gotcha. Yeah, Beta Ray, I haven't read anything since around issue. I mean, I bought issue 200 because it was a big issue, and I bought some of those. But I really only read and collected through issue 100 and something. So I haven't, I know he gets a little bit graphic, definitely gets graphic with some of his stuff. Rodrigo.
Yeah, Rod, how you doing, sir?
¿Qué pasó, hombre?
Chilling, bro. Just hanging out here, man, and in the living room, man.
You enjoying your day off?
Yeah, I gotta go to work tomorrow, but I got all next week off.
What?
And
Nice.
yeah, me and the wifey taking a whole week off. And we're gonna figure something out, man, with this to hang out. And I told her, actually, my boss thinks I'm off Wednesday on, and so I probably take advantage of that. And I'm thinking of doing something like waking up in the morning, just hanging out with Rod on vacay on the home. It's just something stupid, man, something funny.
I love it.
Just wake up in the morning, whether it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, feeding the animals, and just do something stupid, man.
I wish I was off too. I'd join you for stuff, man. I might even be back in my classroom at the end of this week. I don't know.
Oh, dude, man, that's cool, man. Congrats, sir.
We'll see. So yeah, but you earned it, man. Healthcare professionals are putting in the time right now. So enjoy that vacay, man.
Yeah, man. You guys was talking about Die, Die, Die. You know, that first issue had like 12 covers, right?
All the different secret variants with like different word bubbles, right? Different things were being said.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, whichever one you've got, look at what he says on the cover, because some of them are really rare variants where he's saying something different, like maybe some of he's cursing or whatever.
I think I got 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, they did it on a few issues, right? They did it on a couple other issues where they had a secret variant where there was like a different word balloon or whatever.
I thought it was just the first issue, but
let me check. I'm sure the key.
I thought the first issue was like just 12
books. I'm drunk.
He says, "I'm drunk." That's funny.
So what it says is the guy says I'm Paul, the other guy says I'm Nate, and then the chick down below, that the senator chick, I'm drunk.
Let me grab mine. Let me see.
I don't know.
I love that. You know what? That's a great concept. And by Dave Enrique, I appreciate you being here, man. I live not too far from here. Let me think about it. It's about 15.5 miles away from where I'm sitting right now. So I was there for nearly every signing event that they had at Golden Apple, for almost every image person that they had say one.
That's awesome.
Which I would love to bring this up. The day that I didn't get to go there, that was a signing event for Rob Liefeld, and that was Youngblood. I wasn't able to attend that day because if I recall, it was on my birthday. I had obligations to be somewhere else on my birthday with my family, and I couldn't be there. My father took off work early, stood in line for over 4.5 hours, and being that Liefeld was there, that was one of those McFarlane / Liefeld days where they had helicopters and news crews and all that. And I believe my dad was interviewed during that time. So I have a signed copy of that book that I will never sell. So people have talked about, hey, what book would you never sell? Well, I would never sell that book.
That's cool.
All right. Man, I know I had multiple copies, but I guess my friends come over and I give stuff away, man. So this is the one book I have, and it's pretty cool. I mean,
I don't know why I can't blow him up.
He says, "I hate this job sometimes," and the other homie says,
If you grab Rod and slide him into the big square, he'll move to that spot. Like
bam.
In the middle of the screen, like in the big part of the screen, you got not down below, but in the middle of the actual screen itself.
See what happens when you get someone that has no idea what you're doing. And no, I think I got it. Oh, I had it.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you got it. All right, let's see what this is, Rod. So he says, "I hate this job sometimes," and the other guy says, "Yeah."
Wimp.
Okay, wimp.
Yeah.
And what's the guy down below saying? Anything?
Yeah.
See, that guy's not saying anything. Not saying anything. And yours says that guy's saying I'm drunk, right?
Yeah, and it's actually a chick.
There you go.
You should. Yeah, not only that, but I mean, yeah, she's a trip, man. She.
Okay, so
I
of the
didn't
other
want
ones-
to enjoy this book. I did not want to, but it's awesome.
So one of the covers says, they said this would be my last one. Another guy says, no, they said best. And then one of the other ones, the guy says, I'm not a fan of violence. And the other guy says, a fan made out of violence. Sounds awesome. The other guy says, one says, who's next? And the guy says, there's no one left. So there's a lot. Somebody says they counted as many as 11 just on issue 1.
Wow.
Crazy.
They don't have any information on the like ratio, like how, this one has more copies or less copies or what.
I really wish they would do that more often. That would on different books. It'd be so fun and so cool. Because it'd be fun to sit there going, no. Hey, look at this. They were made for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
That's so awesome.
that book is pretty dope. I mean, that book is kind of graphic, hardcore, man. But when I'm reading Oblivion Song, that book is just a thing out of a different world, man. I think I'm looking forward to. It's supposed to be a movie or a TV show. So Robert Kirkman, I'm so looking forward to see what's going to be happening there.
Yeah.
If you guys are not reading Oblivion Song, man, you're missing out, man.
It looks like there's even a blank with no word bubbles at all. Just the titles, like the writing, but no word bubbles around anybody.
That's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of different ones.
And again, I wonder what prompted that. I would love to. I'm really curious. I would love to. I would love them to fly on the wall when they were discussing what they were going to do as far as all the covers. Okay, we're going to have one that says this, and one that says that, and just, I mean.
Well, what's the one, Rod? What's the one that Perry likes? That's like the pug on the cover. It's like Grumble. Is that what it is? And they do the same. They do the same thing where the dog is saying like 3 or 4 different things.
You're right. It's Battle Pug.
It's Battle
There it
Pug.
is.
I thought it was Grumble. Battle Pug might be the name of the book. There's a book called Grumble, and I think it's that one where they did the variant covers with just filling in the word balloon with different things.
That's awesome.
When it comes to Perry, man, I just like my mind just blanks out, man. It's just like he's all into certain indie books, man. I can mention a book, but he'll crap on that. So
yeah, so there's one. So the issue number 1 of Grumble has a girl with a like a baby carrier on her chest, and there's a dog in it, and the dog is talking, and one of them has the dog saying "Witchcraft, ain't it a beep?" And then another one, the dog says, "Buy this comic, or I will kill this dog." And then the dog is saying, "Who am I kidding?" Then she says, "Who am I kidding? I might kill him anyway."
That is a ripoff from Mad Magazine. Remember, buy the magazine, or I'll shoot. Remember?
Well, and then She-Hulk did that back in the day, right? Like, buy this, or I'll come to your house and rip up your X-Men.
Oh my God, I totally forgot all about that.
Yeah, and then when their comic failed at the end of the sensational She-Hulk run, she came back on and said, "Okay, it's failing. Give me your X-Men books." Like that was her on the cover. It was basically they used the same cover again, but they just changed the word bubble.
I love that. That's brilliant and fun. See,
it was like the first real self-referential comic, like where the character was talking and joking with the audience and making fun of the writers and the editors at Marvel, like way before Deadpool did all that. There was She-Hulk.
Now, see, again, breaking that fourth wall, that's fun. You know what I mean? When you can sit there and poke at yourself or even, self-criticize, to go ahead and rip down the idea that it doesn't have to be perfection to be enjoyed. You know what I mean? And that was also my fault for many years in music. Being that I was a musician, I always wanted to listen to music that was for musicians, real complex stuff, all that. But it wasn't until I got into other mediums of art that I went, wow, I'm really putting myself in a small place of being able to enjoy things. So now with comics, it's like I don't care what it is, throw it at me. I'll probably like something about it. Yeah,
So,
speaking
Rod,
of which,
are you struggling, Rod? Are you struggling without sports to watch today? I feel like Sunday. I know you used to watch a ton of sports.
Yo, man, let me tell you, man. I sat here. I'm not paying a subscription for baseball when it's like only like the season's at the very end. So I'm just like I try to find the highlights, or I'll go back and I'll listen to the broadcasters from Philadelphia, and I'm just like I need to update what's going on. And my dad called me earlier. I'm so guilty. I have to say it. I screened it, man. I screened it, but I was hanging out with the wifey. But man, sports are back. I'm happy. I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to football. I've been watching tennis all day. Serena Williams, boom, she had 100 wins on that one court. So that's been pretty cool. And the wife was like, "You've been watching tennis all day?" I was like, "I know the sport." So I just I'm just happy to have a day off, and I'm so damn looking forward to next week, man.
so what time did you get out of bed this morning, Rod?
Man, well, I got two little kiddos, man. I got the cat and the killer beast, man. The killer beast, Carmela. And I woke up at 6, fell on, jumped back in bed, and I was just laying there and just looking at everyone's tweets and Instagram messages that I put on mute, man, because you guys can talk a lot, man. Different time zone, man. I gotta mute some of these guys, man. I'm just like, what the hell, man? I'm like, unmute. All right, now I can read this stuff, man. I think Biggie Shaq does that too. So
Biggie's hilarious, man. Apparently, I'm one of the saltiest people in YouTube, so be ready.
Oh man, shut up, man. No,
I came top 3, baby. Top 3. Top 3. He counted down his 5 saltiest channels on YouTube, and I came in 3rd. So boom, take it.
I got this from a coworker.
That's cool, dude. Is that a bat?
Wow.
It's a bat. It's a bat, and it's actually like well done. It's like to the teeth, to the Phillies, and you get like I guess you could put bourbon in there, whiskey, whatever you want. I have not done it, and maybe I'll do it one day. Maybe I'll figure it out. But it's they said it was a defect. I don't know how it's a defect, but it's pretty cool, man.
You can put a candle in there or something. Put a tall candle. I don't know.
You can kill someone with this thing, man.
Stop your intruder.
Yeah, ow.
Go talk to
Looks
the.
like it'd be a great tablet.
Carmela
It looks like it'd be a good tablet.
Oh man,
Who's that?
It's 20. Hermenio saying it's $20 for the Major League Baseball package.
oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm not paying for it, man. It's gonna be it's supposed to be like an 8 or 19 playoff. So figure it out, man. If the Phillies make it to the World Series, it's gonna be on whatever. I'll watch that shit for free on TV. So
Nope.
I don't blame you.
That's not Rod's house. I got a beast in my house.
Got Phoenix food here, man. This house is a complete disaster.
Hey man, it's hard enough having
all you can see is my couch. Because
right.
damn.
Well, I got two kids going to school here remotely. I'm teaching remotely, and I'm trying to do YouTube. It's like there's just stuff everywhere.
How the girl doing with schooling? How the girl?
The simple answer is doing well enough. It's not ideal for anybody's ability to learn. This is not an ideal scenario. It's just the best thing that we can think of. You know, I mean, it's complicated. Right. So, you know, Kate's public school junior high class sizes, are so big that there's no way they can function the way they used to. And so my class, I mean, I've got usually 12 kids in my class each year. So 12 kids, I can easily socially distance kind of and make it work.
Right. Hopefully soon. You know what I mean? I'm hoping in the next, month or two, hopefully, something will, never know. You just,
Hey, Orange County is below the mark for now 2.5 weeks. So hopefully they stay low and they can, open up everything they want to. And my school district I'm in for public school for Kate said that they're planning the end of the month.
oh, wow.
But if
Okay.
if everybody went out and partied over the 3-day weekend, it's going to be like,
Right.
woo!
Exactly. No, I agree. And that's another thing. Like my daughter's over there, boyfriend's over there, Kai's in his room.
Yep.
I'm just stuffing boards and bags. We're not partying,
I have family over to sit out in the backyard, but there's like enough room for like 3 tables, and everybody's got their own space, and everybody brings their own food and whatever, and we just space out. And so, and it's been hot enough. You're in Cali, you're in here in Cali, although it's hot in Florida from what I hear too. So we were just like everybody's sitting outside, everybody's having a little something cool.
But it's crazy, dude, man. You guys have no idea, man. Like, she was like, I'll be home a little later than usual, and I was expecting her to be home. Like, I wanted to spend time with the wife the entire day, but things never happen that way. So she came a little after 1, and then she goes, "I gotta go back to Walmart." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, My dad needs some black spray paint. He's a welder. He's retired. Hey, hello there. How you doing?
Good.
I love your show you guys had the other day.
Thank you.
So
She's helping me. Cool. Speaking of indie stuff or whatever, she's helping me write an article on Raina Telgemeier. So we're gonna hopefully drop that article or the blog today.
Yeah. So we had to go to Walmart, get the damn spray paint, and then we pick up a few other things, and then I'm just like, oh man, what the? I saw the kid and just lost my train of my thought.
All right. She hears your voice and she's like, "What's wrong? Are you on with Rod? Is this offline? What's going on?"
It's just
what you're talking about, how hot it is and family and everything down there.
That's right.
Yeah, dude, man, it's crazy, man. It's just I've been talking to Jeffrey and stuff like that. It's like, this is us like hanging out here live, but then off camera, a lot of people don't know what goes on. And John and Kevin, you guys know, man. And then the wife she's here like hanging out for a few hours, and we just go to the damn Walmart. Like freaking Walmart. Once again, our life is Walmart, but the people have these masks like this
under the nose. Yeah.
And then the young guys are like, that's where I want to get to. The masks are like down here. I'm like, all right,
what's the point?
When you suckers get it, then you realize how true it is, Yeah. And it just blows my mind. I guess these guys don't care. So,
well, you're in it. I mean, you're in it on the medical side. You're frontline guy, So we appreciate
it. You see it and they don't. And me too. That's the difference. Is you see it and they don't. So it's like anything else.
We had a patient. Get this, guys. I'm sorry, Kevin. I gotta mention this. We had a patient that came in there. She was 80 plus years old. And I've caught on things now. So, they wear these masks, and now they wear the big ones that just go like this. So she's 80 plus years old. She comes in there for a CT scan of her chest, which takes 5 minutes. She's there with her daughter, and then the person that's there taking attempts. Oh my God, what an argument that was. She said, "How dare you to throw me out this clinic?" I'm just like, 80-year-old lady. I mean, for what? If you don't want to come inside here to the clinic, there's signs out there everywhere. Just don't come in. But you want to show off when you walk in the door, and she was nasty. I'm just like, whatever. Anyway, this not to ruin a parade.
No. The truth is, there's a ton of things going on right now. I mean, do it every time I
there's a story from Edgar Allan Poe. It's a quick read. It's called The Mask of Red Death, and it's basically a story about denial, and that's really what it is when you don't see it, it's easy to deny. If it's not affecting you directly, it's easy to deny. But if you decide that you want to go ahead and put yourself on the front line, or in the case of you, Rod, where it's your mandate because it's your job, then you start seeing the reality hits. And it's easy to, ignore reality. It really is if you don't put yourself on the front lines.
For sure.
What is that saying? There's no atheists on the front line. You know what I mean, right? So
in the foxholes, right? Yeah, in the foxholes, there's no atheists. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. So yeah, it's the same thing.
I think it's just my brother had it, and I think that's where it hits me the hardest. And to see him on doing like video chat, right? He never grows a beard or whatever, and then I see him like, what the hell? You look like a damn hobo. I look like a hobo now, but he had little beer marks. I'm like, man, you need to shave, man. But
how's he doing, by the way?
He's fine. Yeah, he's fine. He's doing well, man. So
that's good.
I have to agree with Dave, and you know what? That's the cool thing about individuals like Rod and John and many other people in this community is beyond the fact that we are, yes, nerds and geeks and like to talk about our books and stuff. These are caring people. These are cool people. These are people that you're having a hard day or whatever. It's weird. It's like psychic, man. They'll sit there and they'll text you or call you up and, hey, man, how you doing? It's like, what the hell? Better now. How you doing, man? Shit. So yeah,
that's the relationship, Kevin, that I built with you, and the relationship I built with John. That we text. Not you guys see us here live, but our relationship has grown to the point where I consider Johnny Boy my friend, Kevin my friend, and there's I could go on and on with the list of people that text me throughout the day or a week or whatever. This is friendship, man, and this is an escape through what we go through, through daily things, and I just wish that.
No, I mean, I get. It's amazing how many conversations go on behind the scenes. Little offline hangouts. Chad 90 Miles from Comics has been a nice unsung hero since Edwin passed for a lot of us. He's busy with his baby and his job at home, but what he does, and maybe people haven't heard about it, but Chad, he used to be really busy with making content, but now with the new baby. So what he does is he sends these offline invites to StreamYard to his little list, and it changes every day or whatever. And then he leaves it on while he's at work. So he might be on the phone doing work, or he might be feeding the baby. Yeah. And I log in there and I never know what I'm gonna see. One day I'm in there and he's feeding the baby Cookie from Just a Little Podcast. He's washing dishes because he just finished dinner. I'm cooking dinner, and in the background is Bake the Snake because we don't know that he's there, and Chad's busy. He doesn't notice. And Chad's playing music for all of us, and it's like it's the craziest thing. And he'll text me and say, "Hey, the link is live if you want to come on in." But that friendship kind of stuff, I mean, it has made a huge difference just to be able to, I don't know, talk about stuff and be around people, and yeah.
I like how Chad he's always trying to get Hialeah. He was like, no problem, man. I get Hialeah on here, man. And the first time I did it, well, not did it, but hanging out with them, Chad was like, man, I get Hialeah, man. And I think he jumped on like not too long after that. But Chad was just like busting Hialeah. Hialeah jumps on. And I was watching the movie with the wifey. Was it a happy ending or whatever? How good was it? But, yeah. I'm at work and I get Chad's message. I'm like, I'm working, man. I can't do this, man.
And I was on a show with the Boy Who Had Seven, and Hialeah was on there, and we were having a good time. And I was like, and I could tell Matt wanted to go longer, and I was like, no, I got to go. And as I jumped out, Hialeah was saying, I got to go too. We jumped out, and I see that I got a link from Chad. And I'm like, I click it. And of course, Hialeah is already in there, hanging out offline, talking it up, making jokes, busting each other's balls. And I'm like, this is hilarious. We were just live, but now we're offline and we're doing the same stupid stuff.
That's wow. I mean, because if you think about it, unless we're in an environment where we're all together, you know what? You can't create that environment. It's just amazing. And it just goes to show you that how we invite each other into our homes, even if it's in a virtual way, and how we feel about one another.
Right.
You know, which I look forward to. You know, I mean, unfortunately, Rod can't always just shoot over here when things go. But I mean, at some point, definitely got to get you over here, John, with the kids, and have you guys feed the
sure.
You know what I mean? And have all the hummingbirds, flying around your head, and
yeah, man.
Yeah, you guys will do it. And now, again, I can set everything up so we can create that same type of environment and let everybody cruise on and check it out, and I think it'd be awesome.
I have to say, Johnny Boy and you, Kevin, look so sexy, man. My fat ass head right now, man. I need to go outside and start cutting some more grass, man.
I need to get outside.
I'm only 5'7", but under 200 pounds. But this damn fat ass head, man. Look at this joker.
I think it's all on your feet. It's all the weights in your feet. You have to. You got big feet.
Well, hey, I'll be turning the big 44 this year, and older the better. Ooh, yeah.
The older the violin, the sweeter the music.
There it is, Johnny Boy, man.
So I got to ask you, John, how are you coming along with your push-ups? And I'm a day off. I guess I said it was day 5 the other day, and I actually did day 6. But my shoulders are
and dropped it today. I only have 2 days left to go. I got Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I'm done. But it's I had days where physically I was just not at my best, and I've had days when emotionally I just was not at my best. I started recording one, and I just started getting in, like, talking about veterans, because it's all about supporting and highlighting awareness of the veterans that we lose every day, and it's easy to just get like tore up about it. But it's been important, and at least I mean, it's stupid to say that it's important. I'm sorry, it's stupid to say that it's Instagram. It's not important, but it's been important to me psychologically. Like, I think it's obviously it's nice to get a little fitter, but it's been more important to me to, like, just, I don't know.
Well, full disclosure, I did the same thing where I was getting a little over talkative and one of them. So I deleted the whole thing. I never actually put it up. It was so long, and I started doing the push-ups that when I was done, that's why my first day I did 44 and not 22. When I was done, I'm like, I can't do it's 6 minutes long. So what I end up doing, I go, okay, I know what I need to do. I know how to do it. So also another thing is, I don't know if you noticed, because I haven't done today's yet. What I've been doing is I've been doing every successive one an hour later than the next one to give myself a longer break in the interval.
Well, Charlie's mad at me because she wants to do them with me. And if I keep going at the pace that I'm going, she's like, I want to do more of them with you. Come on, we got to do this as a team. So she wants to get out there and do the push-ups too. But I'm like, babe, you're like 40 pounds. Like you could do this in a second.
Well, I have to have probably Kai do a day or two of being my proxy.
There you go.
Hook me up, son. Because my shoulders, man.
But it's just important for me. It's been more beneficial for me mentally, I think, than anything else. Just to feel like I was doing something, even though it is entirely like unimportant. That it's on Instagram, who cares? Like, but it's been nice for me.
You brought up a point how Backseat had made you aware of the significance of the number 22. Which to me is, that's what hit me. I was like, oh, fuck. All right. Now, this. So when I got nominated through him, I'm like, okay, this is a way of being able to, because in my own pain, I guess, it allows me to get rid of any all pain. Does that make sense? So because I start understanding, its meaning in different ways. So I'm like, hey, there's a reason behind Beyond Me that I'm doing this. So that's why it feels good for the reason behind what we're doing to do it. If that also makes sense.
No, it absolutely does. Yeah. And then of course there's the physical fitness of it all too. But yeah, Mastodon is right. Raising awareness is the important part. Not a lot of people are aware. And so I guess, if that's the big benefit, then sure. And I didn't really tag people because I felt like I know people, Edwin.
I did not do it. I'm sorry. I wanted to do the push-ups, and I was like,
no, but Rod, you know how Edwin was about getting tagged on stuff. Like we used to,
and I was thinking about that. I remember it was being blown up all the time, and I was thinking the same thing. I was waiting for you to say it though.
It felt hilarious to me that two of the things that I was involved with for him were auctions and tagging. Like it felt like stuff that he would just be like, what the hell is wrong with you people? You're idiots. Like, what the heck?
He hated it so much.
Oh, my God. But in that way, it's almost like we get to bust his balls a couple more times, right? We get to get the last shot. We get to get him a couple more times before. But I didn't want to tag anybody because I felt like, I didn't want to obligate anybody. But right off the bat, Caroline and Chris was like, I want to do it. And I said, fine, then consider yourself tagged for my day one or whatever. And if anybody wants to do this, I know Donnie's been doing it. He's in the chat right now. But if you want to do it, if you've got an Instagram or whatever, you can, tag people, let them know and just highlight it on your feed or Facebook or wherever you want to post it. I think it's beneficial.
I agree. And again, just to kind of bring a point before we kind of jump off is it's been nice to see how everyone has come together for in different ways for all the same reason. And I personally, I've met a lot of people in a more intimate way than the way that. So it goes to show you how many different ways people were touched and how many different ways people are touching each other and how many different ways people are bringing awareness and all this different stuff. And I guess what I'm saying is I'm grateful to not only to the panel that you see community out there in front of you right now, but to you in the chat, even though you may feel that you may be invisible or whatever, you're not. When we sit there and shout you out, and this is not just a surface thing, is we recognize that you're there. We know that you're there. At times, we even feel what you're feeling because we laugh at times some of the same fucking shit. So we're there. We get it. We understand. So I want you to know that if any time that anyone out there that ever feels that you need someone to talk to or you just want to hang out, most of us will be there for you at any given time. You know what I mean? There's so many of us that are trying to be there for you at all times. So I think in part what I'm trying to say is I am grateful for you as much as I feel that, you know, I'm happy to be here.
And yeah, I think that's a really great point. The idea of having people who are aware of needs of each other and understand that we all have mental health needs. And I mean, I would love it if this current election became less about hate and more about people saying, like, this is an election about mental health awareness. Like there are so many layers to what are going on in this country right now, the divisive and the everything. They're all centered around being aware mentally, right? Whether you're talking about issues with violence, whether you're talking about suicide, you're talking about all of these things, drug addiction. There is so much of this stuff centered around mental health. And if we could make this a referendum on mental health awareness and how we, you know, this is, I don't think, I mean, maybe it's naive of me. I don't think we need more people walking around with guns. We need more people helping people, more people being, you know, we have a ton of guns. We got more than enough guns right now. What we need are people communicating, helping people, being, I mean, I think they recently came up with a 911 number that's strictly for suicide prevention, which is an amazing step that we've never had in this country. And it should be, I think 2021 will be the creation and setup for this. So there will be a 3-digit code for suicide prevention, which we've never had in the history of the US. Things like that would be a wonderful referendum. And what, you know, social, you know, paying social workers and getting more social workers in the world, and drug rehab facility experts. And I mean, things that would be like literally.
These are the things that our present Blue Force has to deal with, unfortunately, is they're dealing with a lot of mental health issues. So when people say, you know,
if we had more of that in the world, and I think that's, you know, I feel like that's what I would hope this awareness comes around to, is the fact that we're losing so many veterans every day. And there's it's so wasteful and so senseless. And if there were resources to help those kinds of people, and even if that's us, like Rod knows he can call me on a dime. You know, Kevin texted me the link to this. You know, on a dime, that's what we need more of. For me, I just feel like mentally, to know that there are a lot of support systems out there. It's not any one person, and we're all dealing with these things, everybody, all the time. You don't know,
especially now. You know, I think we're all even more so understanding one another because we're all in this together, in our own separate places. We're all in this kind of situation together. You know what I mean? So
totally.
Yeah, I know, speaking for me, I know I'm feeling a lot, and I get it. That's why I can understand how others do too. Now, and also I think, John, you know, you and I have talked about this before. The book Alienated, back to comics. I think one of the reasons why we both love the book so much is because of the content that it's dealing with. These same type of issues that we're talking about now.
Absolutely. And you know, what Alienated, it has all these great social issues in it, you know, and I think they're presented so wonderfully and so powerfully through the lens of comic books and aliens and all these things that allow us to have a different perspective on them. And I think it was, just really well done.
I agree. Yeah, you know, and I have to fully admit, it's not anywhere where I thought we'd go when we started the show.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm so glad that we
Hey,
did.
Kevin, can give me 1 second? I want to say something real quick.
Absolutely.
Oh shit.
It's not easy, man. Don't.
I got.
Well, I want to hug you so bad, dude.
Let's say something real quick. Damn Edwin. Yeah, I called him that Tuesday and I said, we're doing the show. He was like, what the hell are you going to do? I said, we're going to call Buyer Pants. Hey, jumps on the show. We're making notes left and right. Have no idea what the hell we're going to do. You can see it's hot garbage water it was. But in a good way, man. Hot garbage water went a long way down the road, man. Perry jumped on the show. Buyer Pals was born. I look at the dates after everything. That was the first time Edwin did the live show. August 8th was the last time the live show ever. But it was cool because I had Chris for Laws and Commerce, had Jeffrey. I think it's weird, man, how things happen. You start, you finish. I think a lot of people go on with the shows and whatever. As the married man, my wife is always calling me, checking on me. Because she knows how hard this is. I just wanted to say, man, I'm just happy. Hey, that Joker on his first live show. They would bust my balls and say, Rod, go live, man. Go live, Rod. Just go live. Go live all the time. Go live, go live. The next thing you know, they're doing their edit videos and all that stuff. They rock and roll with that. Yeah. Oh, man. Just happy to see Edwin and that live show, and I got the video. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, I was the last week I was going through and making my updating my playlists, and I found a couple live streams with Edwin. It was kind of nice because he did book club three times. And so I found a couple, obviously the Turtles one. He did the Turtles one. That was fun. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what the other ones were, but it was fun to go back and spot him. Every once in a while, be like, "Hey, there he is."
I'm sorry, man. I just my wife is never home. We got the whole issue. My mother-in-law for a year and a half, still in the ventilator. So I told Edwin all the time, man, I'm alone too, man. Let's talk. He just kept to himself,
Yeah.
I'm just being real, man.
You're just being who you are, man.
Exactly. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate you, Herminio. Macedon. You guys are awesome. You guys, again, you guys are you. We appreciate you guys.
Just try, I try to what you see here, and then I'll do a show on Tuesday. And get ready, man. We do a label frame on Tuesday. We're gonna be doing some drawing stuff, we'll rock out and do stuff like that. And then we'll get. I can hear everyone be like, "What the fuck you doing, man? That's a hot garbage water." But oh man, it's gonna be a good show, and there's gonna be an invasion. So stay tuned for that.
What I liked is that when I came in, my interests were popular. So I mean, I like Usagi Yojimbo, and there weren't really people that liked Usagi. I'm a turtle of old, you know what I mean? But I didn't tell anybody. I've never really showed anybody my books or whipped out too many slabs and stuff like that. So the cool thing that I'm getting at is Edwin allowed me to break this shit out because he's like, no, this is fucking cool shit. And he's like, okay, he said it's cool, so I can bring this stuff out now. I got someone backing me up.
Right.
So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to miss. But the cool thing is there's a lot of things that we were able to integrate. We're able to remember. I am grateful that I got to, spend what little time I did on chat with them. And man, it's, I think I would be considerably more saddened if I'd never even got to even have a little touch of that.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Because I mean, you guys, you got the gold. You got Edwin Gold. You guys got to hang out with him. And I mean, shit, Rod, you got to fucking meet him. I mean, damn. So
yeah.
That's so fucking badass. That's
one
so
more
rad.
thing to throw at the step of the pandemic is not being able to go to Florida this year.
It was there's something it's just something. It really is. It's just from talking every day.
I think I need to break open another box.
Oh shit! You got more?
Yeah, man. So hey, my shipment just.
I didn't want to
shipped,
hide. I'm sorry, man. I'm
Gonna
kick myself out.
It's my own fault. I kind of took us in a turn, I guess here.
No, I think we're all into not necessarily a blame, but we're all in this in the sense of our contribution. We all contributed to us going in this direction, and there's nothing to be apologized for. I think this is this is another verification. This is this is how we feel, not just about one another, but about the community. And it goes beyond just a sub or a like or any of that. It is. Because beyond the like, beyond the sub of the people in the chat and the people on the panel, there's relationships, and that goes beyond a sub or a like. It goes beyond YouTube. And that shit's fucking cool.
Open that Joker up and see what we got in there, man.
No, I didn't get my book yet, but I hopefully soon. But wow.
Oh damn, there's only 8:15 over here. That means the time is changing. That means the sun is going down more. Oh, this sucks, man. That means I hate this. I hate this time change. You guys do that with the time change and all that stuff?
Oh yeah.
This is complete stupidness, man.
One of my favorite sayings is an old Indian saying, and I can't remember who said it, but the saying goes, leave it to the white man to take a blanket, cut off a portion, and sew it on the bottom and say, look, it's better now. Like, wait, what?
I mean, this is
But,
ridiculous, man.
So, but that's not time change. Doesn't happen until November. You got time.
Johnny Boy, man. I mean, it's 8:15. It's already dark.
it
Over
really
here
for
in
you?
my ends.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah, that's true.
No, the sun will still be out. At least at 8:30 at least. But geez, man, I just noticed things like with the sun, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. I hate this, man.
Yeah, my
Them
brother
flipping
always
the
liked
clocks
it.
back- Go ahead.
My brother always liked it when it was the time change where, like, you know, you could go out and play sports until 9:00 at night. Like that was his. He doesn't like it the other way around when it's like for me, I'm a morning person, so I'm like, yeah, let's go, son. Let's do it. Let's run first thing in the morning. Let's get this on. I'm half in the bag by like 8:00 my time anyway. So let's just go to bed.
I get it. Yeah. I used to have preference, and now I'm not. I just kind of okay. I have to admit though that the time thing where they sit there and jack you up with a mental time thing, it's starting to affect me as I get older. But as
No,
Perry
Gore-
says, I'm a boomer,
Gore
so
Vidal, Gore Vidal's worried there was a time change. No. We're talking about the one that happened in March. That's how we're time traveling back to pre-COVID to talk about the time change that was like that led the way.
Yeah, exactly. That it does mess with me a little bit mentally, but they have been talking to remove that, which I'm all for. If they don't mess with the clocks, I'm good with that.
Sucks.
So
man.
when you guys
Just
read-
leave that clocks alone.
Exactly. So were you guys reading that you would recommend out there to the community to read that they just have to get this Wednesday?
I think something's killing the children's coming out. That's always on the top of my list. I think it's the X-Men week for me. So Marauders is coming out and X-Force is coming out. Those are going to be on my list. I think I've only got 3 or 4 poll books this week, but I'm picking up those trades. I told you the Darth Vader trades that people told me were amazing, and my shop had them for 50% off. So I'm going to grab those 2 trades, and that might be it. I don't remember. I think that might be it.
That's good. If you can keep it under there, that's great.
I'm trying. I haven't been buying off of eBay or from the community. I've been trying to cut down on pretty much everything. Although I did make, and Rod will be proud of me, I did make one Edwin related purchase. I found a guy selling the Last Ronin ash can. The tiny version of the first Last Ronin book that they released a few months back, and I snagged one of those. But I had a little money in my PayPal, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah, it's going for some people are selling it for like $50-$60. So, but I got it for 20 shipped. I think 20 shipped. I was like, let's do it.
Score.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Great
all over the map.
deal.
So it's one of those books that's like you can't gauge the value of it when you look, and it's like that one sold for 50 and that one sold for 25 and that one sold, you can't gauge it. And knowing that the guy wasn't going to have to pay any taxes from eBay or anything, he was like, yeah, 25 or 25 shipped, 25 shipped, I think. And he's like, that's fine. So
That's a great deal on both sides. He made
yeah,
money.
I
and you made a
wanted the
great
book, and if that book spikes when they drop, because they're not the comic doesn't even drop for another month, I think.
They keep holding it off.
Yeah, and if it's gonna be as hot as everybody says it's gonna be, the ash can is gonna be the one that people want because it's smaller print. Yeah, that cover for Something's Killing the Children, Rod, looks amazing.
I know you got to get that one. You got to get that one, Johnny Boy. Man.
I don't know, man. I try to stay away from those incentive covers, man. That's gonna be a 1 in 25, 1 in 10.
Again,
What is it?
I think it's a 1 in 25.
Dude, I can't afford a 1 in 25 right now. That's out of my range.
Yeah.
That's on a Key Collector Rap, guys, man.
Oh,
Check
it's
it
gonna
out.
be a
Key
hot,
Collector Rap, Comic Time 101.
it's gonna be a hot cover. The problem is I don't know if it'll hold that value because I don't know that it's a key
Right.
issue in any way. So it's like if if somebody pays $30 now and it bumps up to 50, and then in a month or 2 months or 3 months it's back to 20, like maybe I wait and I just get it later on.
And again, the reason behind that is because that issue right there sold more copies than issue 1.
right?
That's why.
Yeah.
I watched some interviews and I was trying to figure some stuff out. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing the steamroll and how. So
Yeah.
I think the first set was on a like 40 something thousand. So they're hitting well over 100,000 print run, I believe, on these things now.
Yeah, they're starting to
That's
go
crazy.
up. So like those first few issues, if you can find them for a good deal, I mean, they're worth. I don't understand. The thing I don't get is that issue 1 cover A is the book that's really hot, which never happens. Considering that cover B was that amazing Jenny Frison Virgin variant, I'm baffled why the Jenny Frison one, which I bought and I love, I would never have picked cover A. Cover B was where it's at. So I'm getting my cover B probably slab. But I still am shocked that cover A is to make people are paying hundreds of bucks for that cover A now.
Wow. I have this little way of buying books. If I buy more than one copy, you have to always, I have a rule. You have to always buy a cover A, because me, a purist of old school, when
Right.
you're looking for something, you're looking for the first copy, the first print. And
Right.
if you're lucky enough, yes, a newsstand, but usually not, because you're not going to get in the condition that you're looking for. Anything after that is up to you as far as what variant that you
Sure.
want. And then if you're chasing a spec, that dictates that. Or if it's
Right.
because of your own personal taste, that dictates that.
Right.
But always cover A.
I'm
That way you can sell.
when it comes to indies, I rarely buy more than one copy. So I'm really just looking at which cover I like most. And then if I love it, if I freak for it, it's the best thing ever, maybe I'll go back and snag another if there's still more there. But it's just, I mean, that's what I did with Die, as I fell so in love with it that anytime I saw a copy for a reasonable price, I had like 5 copies of issue 1 in different variants.
You know, I'm guilty of that on a few things. It's like,
I'm
I
gonna have to bounce out of here and make dinner. I don't know if you're thinking of wrapping up here soon.
I am. I didn't realize that we were almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, we
I think
really
we're
ran
good.
for it.
And I think for the community, I appreciate you guys hanging out. All of you guys, the input that you put in, the fact that you got to hear our hearts, and I'm definitely speaking for the panel. The sincerity behind what we speak is there. So again, if you have to, if you need to, and you can't get a hold of anyone, try me. And if John puts it out, John or Rod, so I'll try to be here for you. I got my own issues,
Definitely.
and that's why I want to be here for you, because you're helping me. So thank you.
For sure.
And I think from us, all of us at 1-2 Comic Talk, we're out. Take care, guys.